come and sit with me.
Okay.
Oh, we're live now.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
As you can see,
Hello.
hi, guys.
So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Kenia,
I'm Alyssa.
and we're from the brand branch. So, to all of our brand kids, hello.
Miss
If
you
you're
guys.
seeing. Today, we are going to work on the smart moves, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and our topic, we chose the topic for today, and our topic will be general hygiene. Now, Alyssa, what is general hygiene?
Hygiene could be defined as like things you do to keep your body clean.
Mhm.
So a few examples might be washing your hands, making sure your face is clean. Could even mean making sure that your clothes are clean. That's an important one too.
Yeah, and it could also mean just simple things like washing your food before you cook it. I know that sounds a little weird, but for example, if you're about to use a tomato, you have to wash it before you use it because sometimes you don't know if the people that pick the tomatoes they wash their hands or something. It could be kind of nasty.
That's true, definitely. So you could use like just regular soap. What we always do in my family, we always fill the sinks, like the kitchen sinks, and we just use like Dawn dish soap, and then we kind of just like scrub our potatoes, our tomatoes, like you said, lettuce. That's also a really important one.
Definitely lettuce. Your grapes, your strawberries.
Yeah.
Anything that could have grown in the field, you definitely want to make sure that before you cut it open or before you eat it, you wash it with soap and water.
Definitely.
Just like you wash your hands, and just like you could wash your face, how you wash your whole body when you're taking a shower. And all of that involves in general hygiene. Mm-hmm. But in order for you to maintain general hygiene, you also have to maintain a certain schedule to follow when you're waking up every day, or to your day-to-day lives.
Definitely. Yes. So I guess we could start from the beginning of the day, right? So Kenny and I kind of came up with like a little bit of a schedule for you guys to follow. Of course, you can add in different things.
Yeah, you don't have to specifically follow what we're about to tell you.
Make it your own.
It's just, make it your own because not everybody is the same. You could make it your own way. So, for example, we started with an alarm clock, and we could wake up like around 9:30 or 10 or 8 in the morning. I wake up kind of late because I do sleep late, although that's not right because we could be behind in sleep and we don't want to do that. But when you do wake up early, that's something that's a great way to start your morning is when you wake up. The first thing that I've heard that could help you in the morning is to make your own bed.
Yes, definitely.
That's definitely something because you never know if throughout the day you're going to get busy, you're going to get tired, and the last thing you want to see when you come home is a messy bedroom.
Yes, it is very important. Just to set your day, kind of set the standard for having a clean room. So yeah, start your day with making your bed. That's a great.
And by having a clean environment where you sleep, it also helps you not be messy with yourself because you can have a pile of dirty clothes here, and if your room is not clean, you could end up wearing dirty shirts or dirty pants someday when they're all, you could get sick, I guess, by wearing dirty clothes.
Yes, for sure. You don't want that. So she said, try and wake up in the morning around like 8, 8:30, 9. So everybody knows that you should get a certain number of hours of sleep at night, right? So if you want to get the maximum hours, if you want to feel the best rested, you should probably go to sleep around 9:30 or 10.
Exactly.
That way your body can have that time to cool down and fall into that deep sleep like everybody needs. So your body really can't function at its best if it's running on 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep.
And I know that some of my kids have told me, Miss, I don't even sleep at night. I pull all-nighters. And some of them come over here to the Boys and Girls Club or even to school to go to sleep because they didn't sleep that night. Although I understand that every now and then you do want to sleep late, like in New Year's Eve, when everybody goes to sleep a little bit later because it's the New Year, or maybe even in Christmas. But when it's a school night and when you're about to go to school the next day, it's really not the best of ideas to go to sleep at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You should definitely try, like Alyssa said, try to go to sleep like around 9:30 in the afternoon at night and 10 or around there. That I think that's a perfect time to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And once you wake up and you already made your bed, a very important part of your personal hygiene would be to brush your teeth.
Yes.
Because nobody likes bad breath. I'm pretty sure. And it's a horrible experience when you're talking to someone and you feel like your breath is there and it's all disgusting. You definitely want to brush your teeth in the morning. That's after making your bed or even before you make your bed. You don't have to follow this specifically. Just as long as in the morning you wash your face with water, with soap, then you make sure to get the soap out of your eyes because then they'll burn, and you brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth for sure. So a couple other ways to make sure that your day is going to start off right. We had thought about maybe doing some morning yoga. I know that recently we put up another video at the, do you know which one? I think it was Rooney, maybe?
Maybe.
They had a yoga video. But if you guys are up for it, you can just do some stretching, some basic stuff like that. It doesn't have to be anything really advanced or anything like that. But if you just stretch your body out a little bit, it's going to help you feel prepared for the rest of the day.
You could just put your hands up in the air like this and then all the way down to your toes. I can't do that obviously because I'm sitting, but that's one of the ways you could start. You could also start by doing what you learned in triple play or in PE class, all of those stretches where you put your hands out and you do circles.
There you go.
Or when you touch one toe with one side for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, at least that's what I remember that I would do in school. And it's been a while. So I'm pretty sure you kids know what is better after that. And after you do your stretches, after you brush your teeth, after you make your bed, obviously you're hungry. Because if you really think about it, you haven't eaten in like 8 hours. So you're obviously going to feel a little bit hungry in the morning. And a great way to start your day is by having a good breakfast.
Absolutely. That doesn't mean Takis or Cheetos or anything like
or
that.
Anything like
it's
that.
Not a snack. For
Exactly.
breakfast, you need to be eating something healthy, something that's going to energize you for the rest of the day. Another really important thing that I really want to emphasize for all you guys is water. You guys definitely need to be drinking enough water to stay hydrated. I know it can be really annoying because water doesn't taste that good
or water doesn't even have flavor. But there has been some cases when people don't drink enough water and they do get sick to the point where they end up going to the hospital. And the last thing that we would want is to hear that any of you guys went to the hospital for simply not drinking water.
It's
something that can be prevented. It's super easy. And I mean, come on, it's just water. You don't have to like hate it. You just take a drink of water and you'll be fine, and then your whole body will feel functioning like properly. That way you don't dehydrate yourself. And since we live in a very hot and humid climate, it's very easy for us to end up in a potentially dehydrate ourselves. So
definitely. So
there's that.
You should try and drink like 3 or 4 big glasses of water per day. I know it seems like a lot, but you don't have to do it all at once. Just throughout the day, remind yourself, all right, maybe over the next hour, I'm going to finish this glass of water. And then a couple hours passes, finish another big glass of water.
Just set small goals for yourself throughout the day. You don't have to drink a whole gallon of water by
because that can be dangerous
10
too.
p.m. Yes. Just make sure you moderate your drinking of water throughout the day. So set small goals for yourself. So like Alyssa said, maybe for the first part of the day, you have 1 glass of water and you say that by 11, you should finish that glass of water. And then another one by 1 p.m. and then another one by 5 p.m. So just moderate your drinking and expand it out through the whole day.
Perfect. Yes, that sounds like a great idea. Okay, so for breakfast, what are we having for breakfast?
We bought some items for you guys in case you didn't know it would be some good breakfast. So first off, we're going to start with this one.
All right.
We have an apple. In case you guys didn't know what an apple looks like, I'm pretty sure all of you guys know this is a simple red apple from HEB. I'm pretty sure that if you ask your mom or your dad or whoever lives with you to buy you an apple, I'm pretty sure that they will buy them over any other kinds of things that you can ask for. Like,
Absolutely.
if I were to ask my dad, can I have an apple? He'll say yes. But if I ask my dad, can I have some Snickers or chocolate? He'll be like, no, we're getting apples instead. So definitely one of the things that you can have for breakfast is an apple. An apple is a great way to start your days.
Yes, definitely. Okay. I am gonna bring up some oatmeal. These ones, I mean, they come in big boxes where you can get several different flavors. This one just happens to be cinnamon and spice. I usually eat 2 or 3 of these in the morning. They're super simple to make. For you older kids, you just add water and microwave them. If you guys don't feel like you're ready to make them by yourself, ask somebody who's older, ask somebody who's living with you to make them for you.
And there's a common misconception that oatmeal is for the old people. Because I have a friend, my sister actually, she doesn't like oatmeal. She thinks it's for the old people. But oatmeal does not have to be like very plain or very unappetizing. You could have oatmeal with your apple. Like, you could cut up your apple, put it in your oatmeal. You could put raisins,
bananas.
You could put bananas, exactly, blueberries. Like, those yogurt cups that they put in Instagram where they have like raisins and banana, and it's so aesthetically nice. You could do the same thing with your oatmeal. Yeah. Oatmeal does not have to be unappetizing and like a breakfast for the old people. It could be a breakfast for you too. Yeah. And you could make it however you want. Like she said, they come in different flavors. I've seen that they come in peach, they come in apple. One. Like this one that you said, it's cinnamon spice. You can choose whatever flavor you want for your oatmeal.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make it your own, guys. Like,
exactly.
Your breakfast is totally up to you, and it can be as healthy as you possibly want it to be. Because remember, this is your first meal of the day. This one is going to set you up for the rest of the day.
It's the one that counts.
It really is. I know for me, when I eat a good breakfast, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good day. It puts you in that state of mind for, all right, I can, make smart choices. I can make healthy choices throughout the rest of the day. So an apple and
oatmeal are one of the great ways to start your mornings.
Exactly.
And another thing, because we're full of surprises today.
Yes, we are.
I brought a yogurt. This is a strawberry yogurt by Yoplait. This is not my favorite, but there's other flavors of yogurt. I've seen that there's cherry flavor, there's peach flavor, which is my personal favorite. I like having my yogurt with raisins and with, like she said, with bananas as well. And yogurt is definitely a great way to have your breakfast in the morning. You could have a yogurt on the side with a bowl of fruit, or you could have a yogurt on the side with some eggs. Yogurt is, you can't go wrong with yogurt. There's so many kinds and so many different flavors. I'm pretty sure there's one for everyone out there. Yeah, there's even yogurts that come with chocolate in it. So how can you not want a yogurt?
So you can't say no to that. So another thing that I brought is granola. What I like to do is mix the granola and the yogurt.
Same.
It's so
good. And it's definitely like it fills you up.
Yes.
Because if you eat a bag of Takis, you're gonna want something else afterwards because that doesn't fill you up, or I don't know. But if you have, like, for example, if I were to eat this apple and then this yogurt filled with that granola, I would be filled.
That's an excellent breakfast.
That is a good breakfast right there. Absolutely. And not to mention that it's healthy and it's delicious, because you don't want a very bad tasting breakfast. No. I know I wouldn't. That's why people go to all of these places like McDonald's and Burger King, because they want a breakfast that tastes good. But you can have your good tasting breakfast at home and not come with the extra calories or the bad things that come with any other breakfast. That would be very
right.
this would be a very healthy breakfast right here.
And that's the other important thing that Kenya just said was at home. The whole reason why we're having this is so that you guys learn how to make smart choices at your home, because we are living in this time period that's kind of unstable.
Exactly. And we don't know when we're going to go out again, when we're going to see you guys again. And we just want to make sure that you guys know that there's simple ways that you can make great choices at your home.
From home. So mixing your granola and your yogurt, that's one choice. This one just happens to be honey roasted. So granola by itself is it's not bad or anything like that, but this one mixed with honey just adds that little bit
crunch.
Of
it's really
sweetness.
good. I like it. I
delicious.
actually do like this kind of granola. It comes in my cereal, or some of the honey bunches of oats cereal that we buy.
That's also
and really good.
Okay, and I did bring one more thing. So nuts, those are an excellent source of protein. They do have that little bit of saltiness, so that's gonna,
if you're a salty person, a savory person, you can definitely have nuts. Although nuts don't have to specify to breakfast only.
No,
you can also have nuts for a small snack. And you can mix it with a trail mix. I know that I've seen many trail mixes that are amazing. They have, like you said, some peanuts, some raisins, some chocolates, and you could do some of that. So if you were to make a trail mix at home, I would probably put some granola, some peanuts, and some raisins, and then just mix them up. And then maybe you could also add your trail mix to your yogurt the next day, or to a smoothie if you would like to eat it like that.
That sounds pretty good. So it doesn't have to just be peanuts. You can get almonds, you can get cashews, pistachios, like any sort of nut is going to give you a really good source of protein, which you guys all need, which we need. That's what helps our brain make those special connections to get us moving throughout the day. So everybody needs those proteins. These are all excellent sources of proteins, calcium, and of course, we all need sugar, and these all have it.
And it's a great way to fill your guys up. Because I know many of you guys, even after lunch, you come to my class and you're like, I'm hungry, I want a snack, and you just came out of lunch. So this is definitely something that you could think of. You can ask your mom or your dad or whoever goes to buy the groceries to definitely take in consideration of buying you guys some oatmeal, some granola, some yogurt, your favorite fruit. It doesn't have to be an apple. It doesn't have to be what we're showing you. These are just some ideas that you can have for you to make yourself some nice snacks throughout the day.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so
moving on to our schedule. After breakfast, obviously you're not going to have breakfast the whole day. So after you're done with breakfast and after you help your mom clean the dishes, or maybe not, if she decides that you can have some free time, something that you could do to help your brain function throughout the day is read a book. And I know that you guys are probably would much rather play with your PlayStations or play with your phones, which is not bad. I do it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure Alyssa does it too. We all use our phones and our electronics throughout the day. But if we're constantly on our phones and constantly on our PS4s or whatever you guys use these days, our brains are not going to absorb something new every day. And we're supposed to learn something new every day.
Yes.
Something other than passing level 4 or passing whatever level that you're in. So Alyssa and I were thinking about some books that we could recommend for you guys. And I know that you guys are not big fans of books, but I was a big fan of books when I was younger. Definitely. And I feel like I definitely would read if I had the time. And now that we have the time, there's no better time than now to read some books.
Yeah. Start getting into some books. So we can recommend a couple for you guys.
Yeah. So we're going to start with the first book. This is actually a series of unfortunate events. It's a series of books about two kids that lost their parents in the mysterious fire, and they go from house to house, and a series of unfortunate events happen to them in every house. So I know that in one house, their uncle tried to get them killed through a train.
Yeah.
And in another house, they had an uncle who had a bunch of snakes, and unfortunately, that uncle where they were living in passed away, and it wasn't because of a snake or anything. It was because they murdered him. But in every single book, it comes with different things that you can imagine yourself being in this position, and then you could ask yourself, what would I do if I was in this person's position? And there's definitely this is not the only book that you could read. There's other books as well that are for sure could interest you, because there's all kinds of books. There's books about princesses that go into the castle, or there's books about superheroes, or Sherlock Holmes if you're into it.
Yeah. One book that I could recommend for you guys is The Secret Garden. So what I did when I was little, actually my grandmother read this to me. We read the book first, and then there is also a movie. So if you guys can make it through the book, then you guys can treat yourself to a movie night. So this book is also actually about an orphan girl who goes to live with her uncle as well, actually. And she's kind of into an adventure. She's very curious, which I know some of you guys are also very curious. And the place that she lives in is this huge castle. And she sees one day out her window that there's this secret garden, and it's all locked up, and like there's ivy grown over it. And she soon discovers that she has a cousin that lives there in the castle, but he's kind of like hidden away, and the uncle never really like lets him go out because he's very sickly. He's very like sick. And so she and her cousin kind of like break out of the castle, and they go and they start to like rebuild this garden. And she finds out that her mother and her aunt used to play around in that garden all the time, but they both ended up passing away, the mom and the aunt. And so the garden started to die, but once her and her cousin got reunited, then they were able to bring the garden back to life. And it's a really interesting book, and it's kind of like a mystery a little bit, because she has to figure out how to get into the garden, and she's like learning about her family, which family is always an interesting thing, and especially for her, since she didn't know that she even had a cousin. And so it's an interesting book, The Secret Garden. And of course, the good thing about it and about the series of Unfortunate Event is there's movies to go with both of these.
That my kids know that there's a series about this, and there's a movie, because I actually have shown this movie and these series in my room whenever we have free time on Fridays. I've shown it, and if you really like the movie and the series, you should definitely read the book. And definitely you could compare and contrast what happens in the movie and the book. I know for one that sometimes I get mad at the movies because there's some parts of the book that they don't mention, and those parts in the books are very essential and very interesting. And it bothers me sometimes that sometimes it's not exactly like the book. But those are just some suggestions that you could read. You don't have to read these books that we're recommending you. Maybe you already have your eye on another book that you want to read. And I know that you told me, Alyssa, that the McAllen Public Library is doing some pickup, I believe.
They're doing pickup, like an operation where they'll go, and if you rented out a book from them before, you can drop the book off with them. But also, if you don't have any books from them yet, they are also doing a free ebook. So you have to go in, you can create your library card. It's totally free, and they'll let you pick out ebooks to check out. So that would be able to be read on like a tablet or a computer or even like a cell phone. So while you are taking a break from playing a game or something like that, you can get your parents around if they're up for it, or your siblings, and you could read to them. You could read the series of Unfortunate Events, Secret Garden. You could read Chronicles of Narnia. Those are really good books. Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, all those ones. There are so many options for you guys. And also there's another one. We'll attach the website here. It's getepic.com. They also have like teaching kind of like videos. They have puzzles. They have, again, free books, things like that. Something to like get your mind working, because I know that sometimes it does get boring when you're going from app to app on your phone.
Okay, or when you're just scrolling through Instagram. There's only so many pictures that you could see on Instagram and so many stories. And on Snapchat, I mean, there's really nothing else to do except send streaks, maybe. So This is definitely a great way for you to involve yourself in something other than just playing games or being on the same 3 apps on your phone.
Yeah, get that mind growing.
Exactly, and learn something new. You can learn something new from these books that we're telling you. Expand your imagination, and then maybe you can act these books out in front of your family.
Idea.
Like do a little theater. I know that my sister likes to do that after she sees something that she likes on TV or reads something she likes to act it out. So
that's a pretty good idea.
That's definitely something that you could do. And while you do that, before you know it, it's going to be time for lunch.
Yes.
And I like lunch. I just had lunch. And lunch is definitely another important part of your day. I mean, every single time you eat, the decision that you make when you eat can definitely change the course of your entire day afterwards. So for lunch, like you said, like in breakfast, you can also have a healthy lunch.
Yes, for sure. So some options for lunch. Well, actually, first we should start with the proper thing to do right before you eat food should be washing your hands.
Definitely.
I know that you've heard it in all the other videos, but you should be washing your hands for at least 20 seconds, which is 2 happy birthday songs. So you should be scrubbing between your fingers. You can go like this and twist your hands together. Make sure that your fingertips are all clean because you're going to be touching your food.
Your thumbs as well. Don't forget your thumbs, because if we were to work without our thumbs, if Alyssa were to take my thumb to my hand, I would not be able to do so many things because we forget how our thumbs are the most, not the most, but very essential to the way we do things.
So if
we were told to cut a piece of paper without our thumbs, we would not be able to hold the scissors correctly. So definitely wash your thumbs, wash your fingers, wash your whole hand, even your wrist, because let's face it, you could get some food here and like you're gonna lick yourself or something. So wash your hands.
Better safe than sorry. Just spend those 20 seconds making sure everything's clean. Okay, after that we can eat, right? So what do we have for our lunch? We could have chicken, maybe a sandwich with some lunch meat and some cheese. That's always a good option. Don't forget to have some vegetables. Throw in some fruits there too,
if you would like.
A glass of juice, maybe a little bit of soda. Soda's not completely all bad, but
exactly. But if you drink soda like every hour of the day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you could end up with like an ulcer or something on your stomach because of how much sugar you drink.
Yes, so make sure that you guys are balancing everything out. That's one of the important things, is finding a balance to your daily life.
Exactly. And then after you eat, I know that all of the dentists around the world would be glad that we're telling you this, but you brush your teeth afterwards if you can. I know that sometimes when we're in school or when we're at work, we can't really brush our teeth right after eating, so that's fine. But now that we're home, we could actually practice that after eating, brushing our teeth, flossing our teeth, because that's also part of general hygiene. Like I said before, the last thing that anybody wants to have or smell even is bad breath. So by brushing your teeth, by flossing your teeth, by using some mouthwash if you can, you will definitely be practicing good hygiene. And good hygiene is something that not only we should practice, but you should practice, but everybody should practice, because the healthier and the cleaner we are, the more likely we are to stop all of these things that are going on. So for example, this virus, I know that everybody has heard about it from at this point, and one of the ways that we could prevent it from going from person to person is by washing our hands and practicing good general hygiene. So the purpose of this video is to help you guys understand simple ways that you can keep yourself healthy and wash your hands.
Yes. So it doesn't hurt to wash your hands even after you eat lunch. It's not going to hurt you if you wash your hands 10 times a day, 20 times a day.
It's going to help you.
It really will. Yes. And plus, it's just a good habit to start doing that. Okay, so after lunch, maybe we could have a little activity that we planned for them.
So we planned an activity for you guys. We're going to make some space here. And this activity has to do with also personal hygiene, but it could be your own personal first aid kits
from things you gather around
the house. I know that some of you guys have seen the first aid kits that we have here, or maybe at your school, that come with all of these fancy creams and these fancy gauzes and tapes and stuff. You don't need all of that fancy stuff to make your own personal kit. It could be something as simple as this.
Yes.
And we're going to show you.
All right. So first, obviously, you're going to need something to hold all of your stuff in, right? So this is just a box that I found at my house. I almost was going to bring a shoe box because I couldn't find anything else. So if you don't have a box, use a shoe box.
And it doesn't even have to be a shoe box. It could also be a Ziploc bag. I remember that I did something similar to this with my kids over the summer, and I gave them all their individual Ziploc bags for them to make their own first aid kit.
That's a great way to do it.
So one of the things that we have here in our first aid kit is Band-Aids. And I know you may say, well, I don't have any Band-Aids at home. You can make your own Band-Aid as well. Something that I used to do when I was younger, when my brother or when I would cut ourselves accidentally and we would be bleeding, is that I would get a paper towel and just wrap it around the cut, and then maybe put some tape over it, and that could serve as a Band-Aid too. It doesn't have to be something like this. But if you have Band-Aids at home, you can definitely ask your mom or someone to give you 1 or 2 Band-Aids to put in your own personal first aid kit.
Definitely. Okay, another thing, all these things are from my house, by the way. Another thing that if you maybe have, or if your parents are willing to buy for you at the store, is just a gauze pad. So a gauze pad is just a small little rectangle or a little square usually of just cotton basically that's stretched out. So that's for like a bigger cut or like a burn. And of course, if something bad happens, you need to make sure that an adult is made aware of what's happening, because things could be serious.
Exactly.
So if somebody gets hurt, you do need to make an adult aware. So here's just a gauze pad that you could add to your first aid kit. Again, that's just like a little square of material that you could put over a cut or anything like that.
Right. And the next thing that we have here is this triple antibiotic cream.
Very important.
And this cream is something that we would put over a cut. That way it doesn't infect itself. Because if a cut gets infected, it could make matters worse than what they really have to be. So this is a cream. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe you don't have this cream at home. Again, we're trying to make this from our homes. So if you don't have a cream, something that you could use besides this is that you could just put some Vaseline over it. I know that my mom would put Vaseline over our cuts and scrapes, and that would help us a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure most of us have Vaseline at home. So you could put a little bit of Vaseline over your cut, put a Band-Aid over it, and you'll be just fine. So this is just another fancy way of putting Vaseline in a little, cute, well, not cute, but squirty thing. It's like a little toothpaste.
Yeah.
But it's not toothpaste. It's triple antibiotic. Yeah.
If you're going to use Vaseline, or let's say if you don't have Vaseline, you're just going to put a Band-Aid on it, make sure that your cut is clean first. So if you don't have hydrogen peroxide or like a rubbing alcohol, you can just use regular soap to clean out a small cut, a paper cut. Let's say you fall and you scrape your leg. Make sure that you do clean it out, because you don't want any dirt, you don't want any dust. Let's say if you fall on the street, you don't want any rocks or anything in there either, because all that can lead to an infection, like Kenia said, and that can just make matters worse. So cleaning your cuts out, cleaning your owies out is always the first step. Definitely. To making sure that everything else is going to be okay before you put a Band-Aid, before you put Vaseline or the triple antibiotic. Make sure you
definitely need to wash that cut. And it may burn, we're not going to lie. Sometimes it has burned, and sometimes your parents will tell you that it won't burn, but it will burn because
just a little.
It happened to me. But that's the pain is only temporary, because you would much rather for it to hurt a little bit now than for it to get infected and then end up becoming something else that's worse, and you may end up having to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Not that extreme. So in order to stop that, definitely so.
Yes.
And something else that we have here is this. So this is, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. It's whenever you wrap your wrist or your ankle, whenever you twist it, this is something that you could use to wrap it around. And sometimes if you would like to play doctor or something, you could definitely use this and pretend that you're fixing your own arm or that you're fixing your brother's or your sister's arm. I would definitely play like that with my brother and my sister.
Yeah.
So this is something that you could also add to your personal first aid kit.
Just make sure that it's not on too tight. Another thing that I have here is afterbite. Basically, I know that right now it's starting to become summertime, so maybe some of you guys are outside playing in the yard around the time that the sun starts to go down. Bugs start to come out, so like mosquitoes, gnats, things like that. So this, it's not really a necessity, but it does make your life a whole lot easier if you do get bit by a mosquito or something like that, or even stung by a bee. This will help the aching, the itching. It'll help it go away. There's another thing. It's pink. I can't remember what it's called, but people usually put that on their bites. This is basically just the same thing. So if you just put a little bit on your finger and put it on top of a bite, it'll help it not itch. Because I know that the worst thing that could happen is when you're asleep and then all of a sudden
it starts itching and you just want to scratch and
can't fall asleep
it's
again.
Horrible.
This will help you guys out a lot. It's
definitely help.
Afterbite, and you can find this in stores, usually in like the first aid section.
And last but not least, we have this. It's tape, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the same thing as that.
It's like this, but thinner and darker. But this is more like to keep it all in place, because if you just put this on like this and
use those two together basically.
Mix and match. You can put this to keep your gauze in place, or you could put this to keep whatever you have over your cut or your wound in place. And this is just, and it doesn't have to be this fancy tape, because you may think, oh, that's, fancy, but you can find it at the dollar store, or you could even use regular tape. Yep. Just as long as it helps to keep your cut closed and clean.
Yep. You just have to be creative. And
exactly.
Then, if you guys are feeling extra creative, you can make little labels so that everything is neatly placed in here, because the last thing you want is to have to
look all over to find something.
Yep.
And even then, you could also decorate the outside of your box, a first aid kit. And if you're doing a plastic bag, you could just cut a paper that's about the size of your plastic bag and then put it in the front and put your name on it. And you could carry it around in your backpack or in your purse. That way, whenever you go out, you have something. You can also add a little bottle of Germex to your first aid kit, so you can wash your hands whenever you're on the go. And this is just one thing that you could do at home, your own first aid kit. It doesn't have to be a first aid kit. You could also do your own art supplies, or your own box of things to do when you're bored. Your own fun box. You can add little puzzles. You could print out some paper to do some puzzles, put it on your little box. You could put some colors, some markers, some crayons, paintbrushes, paint. There's a million things for you to do at home. And this is just one of the things that you could do at home. We brought this to you to emphasize on personal hygiene. Having a first aid kit is definitely a way to keep your hygiene in check whenever somebody gets cut or scraped.
And don't be afraid to make it your own. So let's see. Probably to wrap it up, we could talk about right before you go to bed, one of the important things, and I know that it's hard for everybody, is to put your phone away.
Yes, definitely. It takes a while for your brain to process that it's already time to go to sleep, that it's time to, relax. And if you're constantly on your phone, or if you're on your phone before you go to sleep, your mind is going to think that it's still time to be awake and that it's still time for you to be up and running. That's why it's a little harder for you to go to sleep in night after you used your phone, because your mind is still processing all of the light it absorbed from looking at your phone. So definitely try to put your phone away about 20 minutes or 30 minutes before you go to sleep. That way your mind can process that it's already time for you to go to sleep. It's time for you to go to bed. And then when you're about to go to bed, it's definitely going to be a lot easier for you to get a good
You
night's
can
rest.
fall asleep, stay asleep until the next day, and then you can start your routine all over again.
And also, like we said before, don't go to bed without brushing your teeth.
Yes.
That could be the last thing that you could that we're gonna say, but make sure you brush your teeth before you go to bed.
Yep.
And that way your teeth are healthy, your teeth are clean, you don't get any cavities, and I'm sure that your dentist will really appreciate it that you brushed and
your
flossed.
parents.
And your parents too.
For sure. All right, guys. So
that is all that we have for today. I hope that you enjoyed our video. We enjoyed talking to you. And we hope that you come by next time with the next staff that's going to make something nice and fun for you guys.
Wash your hands, drink your water, and stay home and stay safe.
Yes.
We miss you guys.
Follow all directions.